The idea behind International Space Station is to teach us how to live and operate off-planet. It has been rightly described as one of humans' best inventions because it has allowed space exploration. However, there are some controversies related to this subject. One of them is that unidentified flying objects, UFOs, have visited the International Space Station, ISS. So, for that, NASA has chosen people to join its independent study team on this unidentified abnormal phenomenon, UAP. The question is, why would UFOs visit the ISS, and why did the authorities decide to cover up this ominous matter? Join us as we dive deep into how NASA has just detected something massive that docked on the International Space Station. The International Space Station is a massive spacecraft that orbits the Earth. It serves as a residence for astronauts and cosmonaut crews, and is also ideal for testing the hardware and systems needed for potential journeys to the Moon or Mars in the future. The space station also serves as a one-of-a-kind science laboratory, and several nations collaborated to build and operate the space station. If we talk about the space station first, it's known to orbit the Earth at an altitude of about 250 miles and has a top speed of 17,500 miles per hour, allowing it to orbit the Earth every 90 minutes. Through this space station, NASA is learning more about surviving and working in space, and these insights will enable humans to go farther into space than ever before. The space station has the volume of 2 Boeing 747 jetliners, or a 5-bedroom house, and it can accommodate a crew of 6 people plus visitors. The station is split into 2 parts: the Russian orbital segment, which is run by Russia, and the United States orbital segment, which is run by the United States and a few other states. Inside the space station, there are various components besides the laboratories, where astronauts conduct scientific research. Zarya, also known as the Functional Cargo Block, or FGB, was the first Russian ISS module to be launched that supplied electrical power, storage, and navigational guidance to the early station architecture. It also provided crew members with living quarters. The electrical system of ISS is such that it uses solar cells to convert sunlight directly to electricity. A large number of these cells are assembled into arrays that extend out from the space station sites and collect solar energy to generate electricity. A long truss connects these arrays to the station, and radiators on the truss regulate the temperature of the space station. So, altogether, the 8 solar array wings can generate about 240 kilowatts in direct sunlight. Outside the space station are robotic arms. 2 of these featured by the ISS are Canadarm2 and the Japanese experiment module remote manipulator system. These arms can move astronauts when they go on spacewalks outside or conduct scientific experiments. Not only this, but the arm is also perfectly suited for missions that include grabbing a satellite for on-orbit servicing or removing a boulder from a spinning asteroid. If we talk about further details, we know that a spacewalk is every time an astronaut exits a spacecraft. These spacewalks are possible via airlocks that open to the outside, and other spacecraft can connect to the station via docking ports. And there are a total of 4 such docking ports available on the Russian orbital segment of the International Space Station for visiting spacecraft. Recently, it's the ports that have become the center of attention because of strange things happening at the ISS. The ports have welcomed something much more mysterious than new crews and human visitors that have been captured through cameras. The ISS has 4 high-definition cameras that continue to transmit video to Earth for years now, so that people can catch up with the happenings around the space station. These cameras were sent to the ISS as part of the CR-3 mission by SpaceX back in April 2014. The 4 cameras are known collectively as the Columbus Eye, and the University of Bonn in Germany maintains a live streaming website. Interestingly, these cameras serve multiple purposes apart from beaming footage to Earthlings. NASA uses them to monitor the rate of image degradation caused by cosmic radiation, and the performance of these cameras also helps NASA engineers decide which cameras are the best to use on future missions. However, when these cameras send images that the space agency doesn't want you to see during live broadcasting, they get purposefully turned off. Given its power as a space agency, NASA has the liability to cite these strange objects that are not of Earth's origin and filter out what it releases to the general public. One example that left UFO enthusiasts doubtful about NASA was when a video clip showed an object entering the Earth's atmosphere during a live broadcast. And before NASA's live feed from the International Space Station abruptly cuts out, the bright object was seen descending toward Earth in the video that UFO Hunter Street Cap 1 posted on YouTube. It's observed that whenever such incidents occur, the feed magically stops, but that actually doesn't block the flow of information on one of the most contentious topics ever. In fact, it seems to fuel more interest in unidentified flying objects as people want to know what authorities might be trying to hide from them. For instance, UFO Hunter asserts that during NASA's live video from the ISS, 10 unidentified flying objects were sighted. A man provided the reports of sightings by the name of Jeff. He noticed 10 unidentified objects hovering around the International Space Station while viewing NASA's live stream when the ISS was passing over the South Atlantic. Jeff posted screenshots of the view, which have gone viral since then, racking up hundreds of thousands of views. Another UFO incident that received the most media attention in the very beginning was the Mantell incident. On January 7, 1948, 25-year-old Captain Thomas F. Mantell, a Kentucky Air National Guard pilot, died in the crash of his fighter plane near Franklin, Kentucky, United States, after being sent in pursuit of an unidentified flying object. The controlled tower's chief operator in Godman Air Force Base in Kentucky had just discovered an object that he later recalled looked like an ice cream cone, topped with red tower. The Godman Tower requested the flight led by Captain Mantell to investigate the object, and Captain Mantell agreed. 2 other Mustangs accompanied him, but both abandoned the chase because their oxygen tanks were running low. Mantell ignored the advice to level his altitude and pursued the object on a steep climb. Before, he also suffered an oxygen deficiency blackout at a high altitude, causing his jet to spiral downward and crash. He claimed that it appeared to be a metallic object, or possible sun reflections from a metallic object, and it was enormous in sight. Several attempts were made to explain what that object could possibly be. For instance, there were claims that the object Mantell saw was the planet Venus, and Venus is frequently misidentified as a UFO. Another theory suggested that the object was a weather balloon. However, given Mantell's description, a typical weather balloon appears to be far too small. Besides, Mantell was too experienced to differentiate between a planet and a weather balloon. Another possibility was that the object was a sundog. Sundogs are colored spots of light that develop due to the refraction of light through ice crystals and are also known as parhelions. But this theory is vague because the object was seen from several different directions, and a sundog is dependent on the viewer, the ice, and the sun being in specific positions relative to one another. Nevertheless, the attention the Mantell incident wanted to grab was enough to get the authorities involved, and soon thereafter, Project Blue Book was born with the aim of convincing the public that flying sources could be explained. So, unidentified flying objects, aka UFOs, are still an unsolved mystery. Nobody is aware of their origin, what they exactly look like or consist of, and how dangerous they can be. NASA is investigating this unidentified abnormal phenomenon, and the first report is scheduled to be released in mid-2023. But NASA is not the only governmental organization investigating UFOs or UAPs. NASA's investigation is distinct from a recently formalized Pentagon-based investigation into UAPs reported by military aviators and analyzed by U.S. defense and intelligence officials. Please share your views regarding UFOs in the comments section below.